the way we focus AI is helping someone who's a subject matter expert and who knows exactly what they're doing, because that's when you can, I think, more reliably apply AI as opposed to giving it to someone who doesn't know what they're doing. And then, sure, you might get some decent results, but you can't have the confidence in that result necessarily.
Yeah. And I like the way you characterize I've in a past life, I was a designer. I remember making, 20 variations of a banner ad. And that is not what I would consider highly creative work as well. So, I think some of that comes down to, just rethinking how we define, creative work in some ways and, and stuff. And definitely. I think the potential is so great for those that really just kind of embrace that.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit now about this idea of, anyone in marketing, certainly over the last few years, if not longer, is seeing a bit of, let's call it, expansion of roles, more work being done by, in some cases, fewer people. So, marketers facing increased responsibilities. And I mentioned a stat in the survey at the top of the show. How do you look at how AI tools can help this as far as, a growing workload, growing expectations?
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting question. And it is, we're sort of in that little bit of the gray area where, I don't think it's had a huge effect on jobs and employment just yet. But, it's obviously like that's something that people are worried about, people are thinking about.
Sure.
And I think it's just going to change. I mean, the way I like to see it, and obviously we're going to see what happens in the next 5 years or so, but I think it's really just going to change how people work and the quality of the work. And I think at the end of the day, I like to take it back to the enjoyment that people get out of doing the work. And it sort of allows you to have like this sort of assistant that's actually somewhat intelligent and can give some really interesting insights and really interesting ideas and allow each member of the team and the team collectively to work faster. I mean, sure, that will, can have impacts on kind of the size of the team and the skill of the team, but I really don't necessarily see that having a huge impact just in the kind of short midterm, just because like there is so much that still needs to go into driving kind of marketing and understanding all the different channels and how you optimize towards them and how you think about, kind of taking advantage of each of them. And I think, again, AI can help us do a better job in all of those different sectors and help us scale to get more personalized content and to not have to kind of go through approval like many, many times because we're kind of getting ahead of some of the things. So that's sort of how we're focused on it and how we're trying to, make sure that we equip our teams with a fundamental understanding of what AI is and what it does well and how they can tap into it to make their day-to-day, work more fruitful and more engaging, as opposed to like, okay, we're just going to use AI instead of this team of people now. And that's
right. Yeah, it's augmentation, replacement of people, and that's not to say to your earlier point that there's whenever there's new technologies used at scale, there's going to be some displacement, and you can look through centuries of history, and there's always that, but there's usually more jobs created in the long run. So I think even if there's some temporary shifts, I think the more realistic and better approach is to think of it as augmentation anyway.
Totally.
One last topic I wanted to just get your thoughts on